What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to do a comparison and a versus video of the Cold Steel Engage and the AD20.5 by Demko. Now, these knives are kind of very different knives. The Demko 20.5 is a more of a custom version. You can only get it through DLT Trading. It's because it has 3V steel, the Tonto blade, and the G10 scales. So it's considerably more expensive than the standard version drop point 20.5 that you can pretty much buy anywhere, and the price difference is about $100. So the way I'm going to rate these knives is they are both kind of in the same aspects of their, well, at least this one, as far as just being the standard version that you would buy anywhere, which I believe, like I said, is about $150, which again is more money than the Engage. But let's break it down and let's see how these two knives stack up against each other. Start off with one of the first things that I think is my kind of biggest deal, and that is the size. So we're barely kind of getting by with about 7¼ inches on the Engage, and we're pushing right around maybe a little bit more of 7½ inches. Now I understand this to some people, well, it's 1/4 inch, it's not that much of a big deal. It is. It actually really is. Because you have to think that it's not just the length that we're talking about when you start. When a knife goes from 7 to 8 inches, everything changes in that. The overall girth of the knife, even though that, again, they look like they're pretty close, but I can tell you right now, they're not. Quick little measurement here. So let's just hit this in mid-body. So, about almost 10 millimeters. Again, let's check that. Yeah, see how it goes up. Now, again, it doesn't seem like it goes up that much. You know, we're talking little numbers, but all those aspects of size make a difference in how the knife feels in your hand. You can see right here how well it fills the hand, where then this one starts to come up a little more short in the palm. I think it makes a big difference when you're talking about what I guess you're used to. I'm used to an 8-inch knife, what they were kind of looking at. But like I said, these two knives are pretty much were designed to kind of go against each other. They really were. Unique locking systems. They really stand out with the same deployment aspects and everything. They really stand to go against each other, and I just think they missed it with the size. So next thing is the scales, the smooth texture. It's terrible. It is. Compared to the Demko, it's terrible. Now I do realize this is the G10, but even the FRN, which same material as this, the FRN in this is got that diamond pattern on it. So for $130, I think right now is what you can get the standard 20.5. Yeah, it has that same pattern. It's killer. It's grippy. Now right here, it's a little bit of a pocket shredder. It grips the pocket a lot when you're trying to get this in and out of your pocket. Yeah, I would even think maybe they should have smoothed it out right around where that pocket clip is, because you're not going to feel that anyway. So it's a little bit of a pocket shredder on that. This would be easier to get in and out of the pocket. And then now let's move into the next thing, and that's the pocket clip. The pocket clip's ridiculously small on the Engage compared to the bigger spoon. Now I think the spoon on the Demko is sitting, and you can even see it's kind of almost curved like the wrong way, and so this could have even been built on a little bit better. Should have been bent up a little bit more. So if you got thick jeans, it's going to still be a pain in the butt. But this one is too, because this one is very low down too. So definitely, I think, like I said, I think the bigger pocket clip on the Demko is a win. Again, like I said, I think the Engage missed it again because of its size. Now, don't get me wrong, feels good in the hand. You don't feel it. You know, it kind of sits, like for me, it kind of sits in that divot of my palm, so it doesn't bother me. But this one doesn't bother me at all. I barely even notice it, mainly, I guess, because it does sit so flat. So there's no hot spot with me at all with it. I can choke up, I grip it in any way I want, even this way, even with my fingers. I mean, it feels great. So you can't really say it's for the ergos, because it's not the case at all. All right, let's talk about the locks. Now, Cold Steel really did, I think they really did knock it out of the park with this locking system. Even though I think it's a little far back. But I think it's a pretty cool, it was a cool concept, cool idea. They're actually, both of these locking systems are very similar in how they work internally. There's plenty of guys that have breakdown videos out there if you guys want to check them out. There's plenty. I think Jared on Neve's Knives does a breakdown of it, and you can see they work very similar inside. So you can check that out over there, I'm sure. And like I said, though, I think it is a little too far back on this. You do have to kind of choke back. You have to choke back pretty far on it to get to it. But in theory, I think they did a great job with it. You know, Demko kind of, again, knocked it out of the park because it's a lot more upwards. And the real thing of it is really just the engage. It's not really how they work. It's like, see how that one just like, it just dies midstream? The Demko doesn't do that. Like, it smooth, and it gets to a certain point where it just, and then when you let go of that lock, it just sucks it right in. I mean, the Engage just doesn't do that. The way it rolls when you disengage, it's just different. This one always wants to stop. Now you can just, wiggle it to close it, but like I said, it's just a very, very different experience compared to the Demko. The Demko it was just on, as soon as you pull it and it unlocks, it just naturally just seems to wanna, here I'm just level flat, and this thing just wants to it just wants to close. And the Engage just isn't like that. Like, I can pull it, and I have to shake it in order for it to even move. The Demko is just not like that. The Demko, it wants to do something. So if it's closed, it flies open, and when it's open, it closes. It's very interactive of how it works, how it engages and disengages from the lock position. And like I said, and even from the closed position, it's very interactive. And I think that's where Cold Steel really kind of missed it with the locking system. It's just dead. So again, it's great that it gets your fingers out of the way of the blade. Not like the Recon 1 where we have to put your finger in here and get it real close, up and close and personal with that blade. And you have to be up and close and personal because you're so close to, you got to catch that lip that doesn't have the edge on it. So again, like I said, in theory, the locking system, the Engage, is really nice, but again, they just missed it on the interaction overall. So that's the downside. Like I said, they just really, Cold Steel with the Engage has just tried to compare it to the Demko, and they just missed it in a bunch of different ways. They missed it in size. They're missing it in the grip and the feeling. Like I said, even though on the pocket clip aspect, it can be a little too extreme. And some people might like this smooth texture. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me. It's too smooth. It's a little too smooth. These grooves back here are nice, but they're way back here. So you're only really going to get a little bit from your fingers, but not really. it just feels super slippery. Unlike, like I said, and even this is slipperier for the smooth G10 texture that they've done on the more recent Recon ones. But yeah, they just missed it. Just missed it on that one. So I think without doubt, in my mind, from even your standard version of the AD20.5, I got to give it to it. I think that in every way, shape, and form, I just think the AD20.5 by Andrew Demko, it just beats the Engage every day. Now, does it beat in price? I mean, I think the Engage now, right now, is $75, $80. It's 120, 130-ish, I think, right now for the most standard version of the 20.5. Will it come down in time? It's quite possible because it is made in Taiwan, just like the Engage. But it really kind of comes down in price. But I think when it comes down to what you're really getting in the 20.5, I think without question, it is totally worth it. This knife right here, which is the only Tato version you can buy right now at all right this second, from DLT Trading, is $250. It's a pretty stiff price tag for a small knife made in Taiwan, but it's 3B steel, which is a great steel. I do love 3B steel, and it does have G10. And like I said, without question, just everything about this knife, the action, just the feel in hand is great. And there is one other big bonus of this knife, and that is there's custom scales. You can get custom scales, and you can customize your scales. So you can technically buy the really cheap version, and you can customize everything inside of it, the scales and back spacer. You can put custom back spacers on it. I think there's even some blades out there that I've seen for them. I haven't seen any Tato blades, but they've done some. There's some custom ground blades out there, I think, too. So there's custom features. There's nothing for cold steel, and that's partly because cold steel doesn't have a very good tight tolerance in their fit and finish. So it's really hard to hit it. They can be. I've tried to swap scales around from cold steel knife to cold steel knife, and from assembly, from different batches, they don't match up right. So you can't even, from their own knives, you can't even move parts around without some of it being misaligned. About the only thing you can do is, the only thing I think that is more consistent is the back spacer, which allows you to be able to put this karambit on. That's about the only thing. But the bolt, the screw patterns, they don't always line up. So that's just a disadvantage for cold steel, and that's why we don't see any custom parts for cold steel, and that's unfortunate because we got a lot. I have a lot. I myself have a ton of cold steel knives. Can't do anything with them as far as customizing them, and you just gotta like them for what they are. And like I said, I just think when it comes to the Engage, I just don't think it stacks up as good as the AD20.5. I think the AD20.5 is worth it for the money. So if that's what you're considering, AD20.5, guys. That's my batch. That's it. We're out of here, guys. Have a great day.